Okay, last time. So I wanted to tell you guys about fascia before I let you guys go for the day. So fascia is all connecting, interwebbing through everything. It's the glue of the body. So when you're stressed out mentally, the rest of your body is going to stress out and then it's going to get tight. So if we're constantly working on mentally relaxing ourselves, then we're going to be happier, we're going to be looser. But also I wanted to let you know that your fascia carries memories. So let's just say you got into a car accident 3 months ago, 3 years ago, 30 years ago, it doesn't matter. If you haven't mentally let go of that issue, you're not going to physically let it go. So if you got into a car accident and it hurt your shoulder, and 3 years later you go to a chiropractor or your doctor or whatever, and you're like, man, I still have these issues, can you help me? Can you take an x-ray or a CAT scan or whatever, an MRI, CAT scan, x-rays, you can take them all. They're not gonna see fascia. So when your fascia is injured, when it's holding that muscle memory, it can hurt you with like trauma. So like PTSD, it gets held in the muscles. So unless you're physically, mentally trying to let these things go, sometimes it doesn't get let go and it just stays. So if you have an injury, even if it was like a bite, like not a snake bite, silly, like a spider bite or even a snake bite, maybe. But what's going to happen is that when you have injuries, it'll tighten the fascia in that area. And then it'll go from like a fluidous, liquidous thing to a more jello type. So this glue of the body is kind of like hot glue, super glue, hot glue. Hot glue before it cools and gets solid and stiff. So when your fascia is warm and having constant movement, so if you're staying active, then your fascia is going to be healthier. So if you're somebody that, or if you know somebody that sits in cold places all day and doesn't move a lot, they're going to have tighter fascia. So fascia relates to everything. So like my muscles are loose because I have loose fascia, because I constantly do fascia release and opening. So I do fascia opening, I let my body move. This is all natural movement that my body wants to do, right? So this is all just natural movement. Back and forth and opening, okay? So then the head, when it wants to fascially open, you let it move. You don't force it to do anything, you just let it move. Let it go, okay? The more you let it go, the better you'll feel. So when your fascia is tight, it'll tighten and it'll compress muscles, nerves, blood vessels, bones, everything in that area. So let's just say you got punched really hard in the chest. Now your fascia is going to tighten because it's like, okay, we're under attack. So it's going to hold everything stiff and hold it together. So like if you got stung by a bee, your fascia is going to tighten up because it's saying, okay, we got to keep all this poison in one area, right? So then when you loosen up that fascia, the fluid will start to release. So that means that in areas that the toxins can't be released at that time, you shouldn't do fascia related work, because fascia related work might injure it more if you need that tightness, but really that almost never happens. So almost always you need fascia release. So after a surgery, you should get fascia release. After you get into an accident, you should get fascia release. Anytime that you're stressed out about anything, you should get fascia release. If you have stomach issues, you should probably get fascia release. Everything's related to fascia. So when a doctor is like, oh, we don't know where your issue is, it seems like it's in your head, you should probably take some Xanax or muscle relaxers or whatever. Go and get fascia work done. And don't get intense fascia work done, like ART, active release therapy, because they're like pushing and then you're moving and then like sometimes it hurts. You need relaxing fascial release. So I call it myofascial movement therapy. That's what I've called it. What it is you're just letting the fascia move. You're letting everything open because the fascia is connected to everything. So if you're relaxing fascia up here and it's tight, so it's going to tighten up everything up here, then it's going to tighten up everything down here and it's going to go all the way down. So if you can get to the main area, right? So let's just say you're tight, you're stressed, and your fascia is making everything else tight. If you relax the head and neck, you're gonna relax a lot of other things. And don't think that just because your fascia work only worked on your head and neck, it's not gonna work on everything else. It trickles down like a domino effect. Everything you do works on everything else in the body. So if you're working on the neck, guess what? The neck is the top of the body. If your neck is crooked up here, your shoulders are going to try and even out what's going on. Then it's going to go all the way down, and everything is going to be affected by it. So just like if you're hurt and you mess up your hip, your hips are going to start pushing weight differently based on how you're feeling. So like if you're, let me get you better vision, better view, sorry, I'm all light and white in areas, my bad. So essentially, if you got hit in the hip, that hip's gonna hurt, so you're gonna wobble onto the other leg. So that's gonna be compensation. Your compensation is going to make your hips crooked because you're using more muscles. So using more muscles will also tighten fascia. So when you're using these muscles all the time, and you're not using the ones on the other side, your fascia is going to tighten up on this side because it feels like it needs to do more work. It needs to tighten everything over here more because this is the side that's doing all the work. So when you're hurt, you're injured, you need to clear up everything because you need to work on the side that got the injury, and then you need to work on the side that's now helping out the rest of your body because you're injured. So fascia goes so much more than underneath the skin. Fascia is so deep that it can affect your organs. So let's just say this hip injury has made everything tight on this side. Your fascia is connected through everything. You have a fascial sac that holds all your organs. So then, like, just like when your organs are working, the fluid that comes out of your intestines and it goes to your kidneys, it doesn't just like float around and go possibly up to your shoulder or down to your knee. It's floating around in this fascial sac, and then it goes over to the kidneys, and then the kidneys, they do their job, and then it goes down and into the rest. So your body has to have fascia in order to work properly. In order to hold yourself up, you need fascia. So when you're loosening up everything, you need to mentally be relaxed, because if you're not mentally relaxed, then you're not going to let all this fascia relax. You're not going to let all these memories go. So you have to be in the mindset also in order to let all this fascia relax. But fascia is so important. So what I want you to know is that the more you mentally relax, the more that you physically relax, like meditation or yoga or just stretching, the more that your fascia is going to open up. The warmer your environment is, the more your fascia will be fluid. If your fascia is injured, that's also going to change it from a fluid to a more jello-like state. And we all know that you can't just like inject water in one side of a jello packet and watch it float to the other side. That's not going to happen. It's a jello-like substance. It's harder to move past through. So if you have an injury and it needs fluidity to heal, then you need to open up the fascia, because that injured area is now going to restrict and it's going to get tight because that fascia was now light and like just like water in an ice container. When it turns solid, it expands. So when your fascia hardens, it's going to press on everything. So if your fascia is really tight, that could be the reason why you're so sore. So instead of saying, oh, I need a deep tissue massage, or just don't touch me, I hurt, go and get a fascial rub down, because you really just need to relax, because fascia is what connects everything and makes you feel the way you feel. So if you're tight, go get some fascia work done. If you're stressed, go get some fascia work done. Stretch out a little bit, because really we're just tense. We're just tight. So just take my advice. Drink some water, relax, breathe. The more we breathe, the more our thymus gland releases T cells. Those T cells are the cells that go throughout your whole body and try and get all the bacterias to be delivered to the center, to be filtered out so that you can pee them out or poop them out or whatever you got to do. But you got to think, you are what you eat. If you eat healthy, your body's going to have more energy. If you breathe deeper, it'll bring in more oxygen and it'll activate your T cells. So if you activate your T cells and stretch and do fascia work, then all those T cells are going to go down to the down parts of the body that never get really good upside down motion or flexing, stretching. You really never open those parts. So the more you breathe deep, the more you stretch, the more you do fascia work, the more your body is going to heal. Period. Your body needs fluidity to heal. If you're tight in an area, that's lack of fluidity in that area, lack of healing. So breathe, stretch, do fascia work, fill the body with things that are good for the body. Think about the minerals that you're putting in it and just take it easy. Don't take life so stressfully. Remember, everything that happens in your life is probably a lesson. Learn the lesson. Move forward from the lesson. Breathe, stretch, go get a massage, chill out. Have a nice day.